What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor City Don Pity. You already know what it is. The Motor City Cats back at it. Came to give you stats, not static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. Let me shout out, man. Before we get started, let me shout out Tactical Sport. Okay, because Tactical Sport is a guy that does it the way you're supposed to do it. So what up though, Tactical Sport? He tells me he's the first one in. He tells me don't forget to share and like and share the stream. And I forgot to share the stream, so I'm gonna do that right now. Okay. Um, but we had a disagreement. Like it wasn't even anything, right? I mean, why am I not logged in? Hold on. It wasn't even anything, right? It was just he thought that he was wrong and he thought Broderick Martin was a worse pick than Jeff O'Hell Nokuda. And I was right. And I said Jeff O'Hell Nokuda was the worst pick. However, he's back here. He's the first one in. There's some people you can't disagree with, and then they just call you a casual, and they tell you that Jared Goff has the strongest arm in the history of the NFL, and they're just delusional and crazy. And then they unsubscribe, and right? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like a lot of the things that we deal with, man. I saw a comment. I saw a comment on one of my videos the other day that said that when I was talking about what Amon Ra said about why we lost the game, one of the comments said that the fact that we had all those turnovers and the defense didn't do their part showed you exactly what you needed to know. What, that you're not supposed to turn over the ball 5 times and your team, the opponent doesn't turn the ball over at all? You're supposed to win that game. The fact that it's only happened 3 times in over 100 years, and the Texans time was one of those times. We got that one. We weren't getting the one in the playoffs. So shout out to Tactical Sport, man. I salute you. I appreciate you, man. Coming through, always hanging out, man. Always stopping through. Because it never was anything crazy. You know what I mean? It never was beef. It never was anything. So yeah, let me share this. All right. So apparently you can't hashtag 313. I didn't know this. I guess because it's just a number. So, right? Doesn't hashtag. Because hash is the sign for a number anyway. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's weird. I didn't know that. I didn't know you couldn't hashtag numbers. All right. Pause. Pity sounds too much like Diddy. You are correct. I won't say that again. Let me start again. It's your boy Motor City Dom P. All right, not Pity. So we got why not what? Which was a why not? Um so as you know, we're in the silly season, man, and it's just been a lot of fallout from that JMO situation from yesterday. Um it didn't make sense. The more that I thought about it, um, the more it just didn't make sense. So anyway, we got Detroit Lions news and rumors. So let's go ahead and get to some of those articles. Um, hashtag numbers. I don't know. I tried to hashtag 313 and it did nothing happened. So I'm not sure exactly. Maybe because when you hashtag something, it turns blue, right? We didn't get nothing blue. I hashtag 313 and it just was what it was. We got some mock drafts, man. Um, Let's see. What Okay, so we'll go with this article because it is on what we started on. So this um, comes from Athlon Sports. It's by John Vicario. It says trading Jameson Williams now would be a mistake for the Lions. The Detroit Lions had an interesting visit over the weekend as they prepared for the 2025 NFL Draft. They hosted a top 30 visit with Texas wide receiver Matthew Golden, who was expected to be selected in the first round of this year's draft. The visit came as a surprise as Golden is expected to fill a role similar to Jameson Williams in the NFL Draft. That has led to speculation Lions may be ready to move on from Williams this offseason. It would be a mistake for them to actually do it right now. The best reason not to do it is that it is really unclear what Williams' trade value would be right now. Yes, he's coming off of a strong 2024 season, but it's the only good season he's had in the NFL. AJ Brown only got the Titans a first rounder and a third rounder back in 2022. The asking price for Brandon Ayuk was believed to be in that same range last season. He ended up staying with the 49ers. Williams shouldn't command anywhere near the same price as either of them, so the Lions could be looking at a second rounder for a player they selected 16th overall just 3 years ago. I believe it was 12th overall, not 16th. That would be a disappointing return, especially with the potential he showed this past season. Another year with the team could give him a chance to increase his trade value. The team also doesn't need the cap relief of moving on from Williams yet. They have plenty of cap space for the 2025 season, and he only carries a $5.4 million cap hit for the year anyway. Their cap space concerns aren't really going to become an issue until their large contract extensions start to pile up. We're still a couple of seasons away from that. If the Lions extend Kirby Joseph, that will hit their cap next season, but they can get 2 more years out of Aiden Hutchinson's rookie deal. Brian Branch has 2 years left on his, so does Sam Laporta. Jahmyr Gibbs can have 3 more on his. If the Lions don't want to give Williams a large extension, that's totally understandable. They're already pretty heavily invested in the wide receiver position with Amon-Ra St. Brown making $30 million per year. They're going to have some tough decisions to make with all of the young talent on their roster, and Williams may just end up not being a priority. If the Lions are going to trade him, they'd be better off doing it next year. This draft class is loaded with red flags at receiver. That includes Golden. It doesn't make sense to offload a proven option on a rookie deal for a prospect who will likely be worse when your team is actively chasing a Super Bowl. That also pushes the rookie deal for their Williams replacement a year further down the road, which is when they'll need it. There's nothing outside of that. There's nothing outside of that visit with Golden that gives any reason to believe the Lions are considering trading Williams right now. But if they are, they should wait another year to make the move. All right. So again, that was okay. That's part of it, and I also have another take on that. But let's get to that part of the take. It's never. Here's why that part of the take it makes zero sense. You're bringing in a brand new offensive coordinator, and the offensive coordinator has already kind of formulated a plan. Now, I guess if you're bringing in a rookie, it's early on in the process, but the offensive coordinator, Johnny Moe, knows Jameson Williams already. He already knows him. He's already worked with him before, right? He comes back in here talking about the big play is back. Who do you think he was talking about? You think he was talking about Amon-Ra St. Brown, who has big playability, but let's be honest. Let's be real, okay? And before I get called an Amon-Ra St. Brown hater, okay, just listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. Amon-Ra St. Brown is not the big play threat that Jameson Williams is. Just like David Montgomery is not the big play threat that Jahmyr Gibbs is. Does that mean that Amon-Ra St. Brown is cheeks? No. Does that mean that David Montgomery is cheeks? No. It just means that they're not the same types of players. You have your home run hitters, and then you have your guys that'll, you got your Steph Curry, and then you got your Shaq. Or Shaq's not a good example. Who's a better example? A center that's just going to back you down methodically. Okay, like Tim Duncan, right? You got your Steph Curry who's going to splash That's why he's one of the Splash Brothers. Then you've got your Tim Duncan, who's going to be methodical, and he's just going to, what I'm saying, he's just going to kill you. Death with 1,000 paper cuts. He's going to back you down. He's going to hit you with a little turnaround pop in the lane. He's going to do all those little things, right? And not everybody's a Splash Brother. Is fine. That doesn't mean that they suck. Okay? So when Johnny Mo comes in, he's talking about, oh, the big play is back. He wasn't talking about really too many other people other than Jameson Williams. Right? Who else on our team is stretching the field like Jameson Williams? Who else on our team is running a 4.140 like Jameson Williams? No one. Not a single person. So this is what he was talking about. So trading for a guy who's, again, going to come in as a rookie. And as we all know, rookies don't always hit the ground running. It's actually more likely than not that a rookie will not hit the ground running. It's very likely. The college game is different. The field in college is actually wider. Okay, and I think it's only by about 2 yards or whatever, but it's a different thing. It's a different game, different spacing. Wide receivers that come in and they've only got to get 1 foot down. Okay, now they got to work on getting 2 feet down. Maybe they're thinking about that a lot. Maybe they're having drops on the sideline because they're thinking about trying to get 2 feet down instead of 1. Maybe they're thinking about the toe drag swag. Who knows? All we know is Jameson Williams has taken his lumps in this league, right? He had a problem with drops before. Now he doesn't have that problem, right? So the growing pains that we had to go through with J-Mo, we know about the suspensions. We know about the, stuff that happened off the field, which wasn't heinous. Okay. He's not Ray Rice. He's not any of those people. He wasn't out here, with drugs, none of that. Okay. He had a gun that was legal. It just wasn't, he didn't have the proper permit. Okay. He told the police about it. He was very forthcoming. The information, didn't try to hide it. Okay. He didn't do anything wrong in the situation. He just didn't have a permit. He was at a team hotel. He logged into an online casino. He didn't bet on football. Okay, so we've gone through all of that. Why would we trade J-Mo? That's the football aspect. The other part of the take that I have that's different than just the football aspect is a part of all the stuff that I said. We have gone through our growing pains with J-Mo, and every step of the way, right? Except for the very first issue with the suspension, when they asked Dan Campbell about Jameson Williams before the suspension got announced. It was right before the suspension got announced. I think it was for the gambling. Okay? He's in the building. Yeah, he's getting work in. That's what Dan Campbell said. That's how he answered the question. So you knew something was a little bit off. Since then, Dan Campbell has had nothing but good things to say about Jameson Williams. He's had nothing but glowing praise. He told you last year that he was a man on a mission and he was just going to leave it at that, and he popped off for over 1,000 yards, and he had that little cockamamie suspension with the 2 games. Brad Holmes has spoken glowingly about Jameson Williams. Jared Goff has spoken glowingly about Jameson Williams. We know Amon-Ra St. Brown loves him. We know his teammates love him. So now when you talk about culture this and culture that and culture the other thing, and then you got a guy under contractual control for 2 more years and you just trade him now because somebody ran a 4.2? Because that's really the only what does Matthew Golden do better than Jameson Williams in the NFL? Nothing. Because you don't know what Matthew Golden is going to do in the NFL. You know what Jameson Williams is going to do, and you expect him to actually continue to do more, right? He missed those 2 games because of some performance-enhancing substance or whatever it was, Adderall or whatever the case may be. He missed 2 games. He's still got over 1,000 yards. Okay, let's try to do all 17 games, J-Mo, and see how many yards he gets. 1,300? Okay. Now what? Is Matthew Golden expected to eclipse 1,300 yards when he comes in as a rookie? Probably not. Right? So that's this year. And then what does he get next year in a contract year? 1,500? Right? So that's 2,800 yards that you can get out of JMO for the next 2 years. And you don't know what you're going to get out of Matthew Golden because you don't know who he is and you don't know what he is in the NFL. So, it was an article to get people talking, and then the person who wrote the article, he came out later and he was like, well, he tweeted out, he was like, well, just to be fair or to be clear, a Jameson Williams trade would hurt my heart. Okay, then why did you suggest that it would happen on draft night? Which makes absolutely no sense. Absolutely no sense. Okay, Isaiah Bond. Okay, Big L, Isaiah Bond, not Big L, the rapper. Okay, if Isaiah Bond tells you he can rap like Big L, don't believe him. Just like he told you he would run a 4.1 at the combine, don't believe him because he ran a 4.4. A 4.4 is not slow, but it's not fast for a wide receiver, right? Not one that claims to run a 4.1, but a 4.4 is not slow by any stretch of the imagination. If I'm feeling good, I might run a 4.1. I'm gonna run a 4.2. I'm gonna break the combine record, he said. If I'm feeling good, I might run a 4.1. And then you run a 4.4. You fell way short. Okay. But the point of me mentioning Isaiah Bond is because this is a man who thought he was going to come into the combine and break the record, smash the record, and run a 4.1, 4.19, or whatever the case may be. He thought he was that fast. Guess what? Every year, some wide receiver runs a 4.2, 4.3. What would be the point? Because you see this guy, Matthew Golden, running a 4.2, and you go, ooh, no one else is ever going to do that again, so we might as well jump on him now. Pause. Yeah. Draft night is wild, bro. Draft night is crazy. We're going to trade you on draft night because a guy ran a 4.2. What did you run? Okay, you didn't run because you were injured, but you tell me that you can run a 4.1 something, and I watch you on tape, and I watch you in games, and it looks like you're jogging. You're that much faster than everyone else. So when you tell me you can run a 4.1 Jameson Williams, I believe you. I don't believe Isaiah Bond. I believe you. Right? And also, J-Mo is a person who can help this football team win. We do not know what Matthew Golden did. All I know, and all I can tell you, is Isaiah Bond went to Texas, just like Matthew Golden, just like Xavier Worthy. So you had two guys that were capable of running 4.2s, and they did, and one guy that thinks that he could run a 4.1, and he didn't. And just like I said yesterday, Texas did not sniff a national championship. So breaking up the chemistry, all this, the culture, the on-field, chemistry, the chemistry that he has with Goff after the, liking the Lamar Jackson tweet, J-Mo has come a very long way in a short distance, in a short space of time. And for you to just abandon him and just trade him, what does that say about your culture? That, okay, you came in, you were troubled or not troubled. I don't want to use trouble with J-Mo. He wasn't troubled. There's nothing that he did which was heinous. Okay? He hangs out in the hood. So what? He's comfortable there. He carries a gun. So what? It's legal. And then after the incident, what did he do? He went on and got his permits. Now he's got a concealed carry permit. What are you going to say now? Right? So he's not troubled. He gambled in an online casino. He's not troubled. He doesn't have character issues. Right? There's a lot of fans out there that, I saw a tweet the other day. You don't want to sink money into him. He just doesn't seem like the type of guy that's gonna take a discount. As if that's a problem, bro. Any of us people, regular people. I'm gonna get to the chat comments in a second. Any of us regular people that come and go to a job, if that job asks us to take less money to continue to work there, what do you think we would say? I know what I would say.
Hell no, to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, hell to the no, to the no, no, no.
Cause I can't hear it. I don't know what happened to me being able to hear my sounds. I couldn't hear them yesterday either. If they came in and asked you this, that's what you're gonna say. Hell no. Come in, Motor City Don P. We need you to take a pay cut, man. We love for you to work here, but we need you to take a pay cut, man. Can you give us a hometown discount? I'll be like, man, hell no. Run my money. So as if this is a freaking character flaw, because you would do the same damn thing. We just, as fans, we look at athletes and feel like because it's for our team, they need to take a pay cut. And if they don't want to take a pay cut, they are greedy. You already make $25 million. Why you need 5 more? Because he wants it and he's earned it. If someone came to your job and told you you already make too much money, why do you want to make more? You would look at them like they had 3 heads. What the hell do you mean? Why do I want to make more? Because that's what the market says that I deserve. I earned that money. So I never begrudge a professional athlete because they want to get their money. A professional athlete doesn't have the amount of time to make the money. Now he's going to make more money than a lot of us would ever make in our entire lives. They'll make more than that in a year. And they don't have that many years to stack it up. If you had 10 years and you made 40 million each year, yes, you would make 400 million. That's called generational wealth. If you invest that properly, you can leave that for your children. And you can teach them how to invest it and how to do right with it and how to make money for you. And they can have it for their children. And they can do the same thing, pass down the lessons and pass down the money. That's why they call it generational wealth. So for somebody trying to get generational wealth and you trying to get them to take a pay cut, that's the name of the business. I, as an employer, in this situation, in this business, and in every business, it is my job to get you the least amount of money possible. As an employee, it is my job to get the most amount of money possible. It is not a character flaw because you want your money. So people that want to spin these narratives and talk about, oh, this guy, he doesn't seem like the type. What's the type? What's the type? Y'all just need to stop with these narratives, bro. He's on your team. He's a very, very good football player. He can help your team. If Jeff Ohel Kuda was a very, very good football team, well, I don't like that he went to Ohio State, but if he's locking down wide receivers, if he's truly locking down Justin Jefferson, if he's getting, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 interceptions a year, if he's really putting in work, I don't like the school he went to. But I don't have any problem with the player. And that's what you guys need to adapt on football teams. If you're a fan of a football team, players that can help your team win, embrace them. If there's a player that can't help your team win, like Broderick Martin, shout out Lone Spoon, shout out Tactical Sport, don't embrace him. All right. Tactical Sport says, let me throw this out right now. We're not trading J-Mo this year or next year. I hope that's big facts. I thought the field was the same, but the hash is farther apart in college. I thought it was a little bit wider. I think by 2 yards. I think uh, something like the NFL field is like 50 yards wide, and the college one is 52. I could be wrong. I don't watch college football anymore, so I might because um, Bryce Underwood is there this year. So both fields are 53 and a half. Okay. It's just the hash marks are wider on the college field. Okay. All right. Well, I stand corrected. And I can be corrected. It's okay. I'm not always right. All right. Let's get to the next thing. Let's get to the next thing. And everybody, man, we got a lot of viewers. We ain't got a lot of chat going on, man. Hop in the chat, say what up though. Smash the like button, share it. You know what it is. Get the conversation going. Come in and be part of the conversation because you know, Motor City Don P love the kids. Pause. Not in that way. All right. So there was some interesting stuff going on. Okay, here's a new rumor reveals how Lions could strike gold with 2 SEC stars in the NFL draft. All right. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I saw something. Okay. Yeah, no, that was something else. All right. So what up, though, Mr. Detroit City? Just like you wasn't right yesterday, cough, cough. No, I was very right. I was 100% correct. It was you that was wrong, my friend. Motor City. Mr. Detroit City, you be saying stuff that I can't say. But all right. New rumor reveals how the Lions could strike gold with 2 SEC stars in NFL draft. This was originally sideline report by Max Damara. The Detroit Lions have plenty of diverse needs to fill in the draft, but arguably the spot fans should be focused on primarily is defensive end. It's a very deep draft class at pass rusher, which is great news for Detroit, given they could use another difference maker to pressure the quarterback. You don't say, Max. The first round is likely to see multiple players selected, and a pair of interesting talents could be available later than expected due to injury concerns. Oh boy. These guys are Detroit Lions. Just book it right now. Injury concerns? We know what it is. ESPN insiders Phil Yates and Matt Miller included 2 nuggets in a piece recapping the latest draft buzz. It's behind the paywall, so we can't read it. That could impact the Lions directly. Yates reports that Alabama linebacker Jihad Campbell, which I said this before, could slide into the late first round due to his ongoing labrum recovery. Ooh, Jihad Campbell, you are a Detroit Lion. Come on down, big dog. So it says Alabama linebacker Jihad Campbell's labrum recovery is something teams are still sizing up, writes Yates. It's not because the injury is complex or an overly concerning procedure, but Campbell had the surgery right after the combine. Teams are still working to get as much information as they can about how ready Campbell will be for training camp or even the regular season. At full strength, I believe he's a top 20 player in this class. But don't be surprised if he slides into the late first or early second round. If he slides into the late first, it depends on who else is there, but you got to get him. If he falls into the early second round, it's going to cost a lot to trade up to get him. So, I don't know. Not only is Campbell a player to watch for the Lions, but Georgia edge Michael Williams is as well. Miller believes that due to an inconsistent pre-draft process fueled mostly by health questions, Williams could also fall into the area where Detroit selects in the first round. Okay, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later because we're going to have a scenario. There's a scenario that I saw on the heavy shout out. We'll talk about it, but we'll talk about that. So edge rusher Michael Williams played through an ankle injury suffered earlier in the season and told reporters at the combine he was at 60% in season. Williams' disappointing showing at Georgia's Pro Day, which included a 4.75 second time in the 40, has scouts wondering just how healthy he is right now. Williams was expected to rise throughout the pre-draft process because of his athletic tools, but his range is all over the place. The latest intel says he's likely to be selected in the final third of the first round. The presence of either player on the board when the Lions pick would be a big development. The Lions need to have the have the chance at selecting as many elite talents as possible. Detroit Lions could be in perfect position to catch a break with injured pass rushers. Okay? The Lions have been in uncharted territory picking later in the draft, but with this challenge comes opportunity, much like last season when cornerback Terrion Arnold slipped down the board, allowing Detroit to trade up. The franchise could be prepared to catch another break with either injured SEC star. Both Campbell and Williams wouldn't be rumored to slide if they didn't have health questions dogging their draft viability. While the Lions haven't made a big ticket offseason acquisition at edge, they have Aiden Hutchinson returning from injury, as well as a motivated Marcus Davenport. Motivated to stay healthy because you can't control that. Come on, bro. Stop it. All right. And an evolving threat in Levi Onwuzurike. "17 games and 3 half sacks." What you talking about, Willis? All right. Evolving threat in Levi Onwuzurike. That could be enough depth to allow the Lions to take a gamble on a sliding talent. If Brad Holmes doesn't like either Campbell or Williams, which would be crazy, the Lions can still benefit from their presence on the board. It's possible that other teams will covet the players and potentially offer a premium to select them and prevent a slide into the second round. In that scenario, the team could add draft selections while still possibly getting a player they like. Either way, this update about the already deep edge position is fantastic news for the Lions. It shows why the 2025 draft is likely to offer Detroit plenty of options. Okay. Let me take a sip. Jihad Campbell, Michael Williams. If I'm being honest with you, I prefer Jihad Campbell. I feel like Jihad Campbell has superstar potential. It would be a very, very tough choice. Angelo only has one more year left on his contract. If you have Jihad Campbell, who can do everything? He can rush the passer. He can play the run, although not as well as like a Shamar Stewart. Obviously, Shamar Stewart is a much bigger man, and they play different positions. But Jihad Campbell, his development needs to come more so against the run. But the way that he can cover, the way that he can disrupt the passer, I believe is top notch. I believe he definitely could be an all-star level player, maybe even a superstar level player. I don't dislike Michael. I'm not out on Michael. But if given the option to choose either one of them, I'm going with Jihad Campbell. Y'all let me know in the chat which one of them you are going with if you're given the option to do both. Which brings me to this. I didn't close anything, but all right. Which brings me to this. If I can find it, which I'm having a hard time with right now. All right. Here we go. The mock draft du jour. I'm trying this new energy drink, which seems to be cheeks just like the old one. So it's a company. I'm not going to name the company because no free sponsors. I'm not going to name the company, but it's an Australian company and they make energy drinks, and their energy drinks are ass. Like, and whenever I drink one, it's like, okay, I think I feel sleepier after I drink one. So they got this new one that's supposed to release energy over time, and I was like, oh, I'll just try it because I don't drink anything from them. I don't buy their products, but I was like, maybe if it releases energy over time, then it'll work like it's actually supposed to work in the first place. I'm gonna tell you right now, the results are not looking good. Okay, they're just not looking good. All right. So we've got some mock drafts to talk about. All right, so it says the Detroit Lions entered the 2025 NFL draft with only a handful of needs. Everyone around the NFL expects the Lions to draft either an edge rusher or a guard during the first round. However, if Lions GM Brad Holmes has taught us anything, it's that he will stick to his own draft board regardless of what the media thinks. Can't argue with the results either. Holmes has absolutely crushed the draft during his 4 off seasons as Detroit's general manager. You can't count Holmes' misses on one hand, or you can count Holmes' misses on one hand because he has so few. The Lions can be a difficult team to make a predictive mock draft for because of Holmes' maverick tendencies. That said, there are a few positions that I expect the Lions will attack aggressively during the draft. Detroit has 7 selections in the 2025 NFL draft, including the 28th overall pick. But who will they ultimately select? Below, we will explore each pick of this complete 2025 NFL mock draft for the Detroit Lions. Okay. So, let me see what we got. Detroit Fan Man says, I'm not the person for this. I got Michael as the biggest overrated DE on the board. High floor, run stopper. Sounds like he's a poor man's Pascal. I'm out. Okay. Tell us how you really feel, Detroit Fan Man. Alex Zimmerman says, no doubt Campbell. Okay. All right. So I'm not crazy, right? I mean, we're all a little crazy, but, you know, I'm not crazy. Okay, so now when we do this part, I'm going to ask you guys in the chat. Tell me yes or no on the picks that I mentioned. They're going through all of the picks of this mock draft. I don't know whose mock draft this is. Hold on. Let's see. This is okay. That is not a link to whose mock draft it is. All right, let's see. So this article is from the NFL on Clutch Points. I guess it's just the Clutch Points mock draft. Okay, so they got Gray Zabel, guard, North Dakota State, for the 28th pick. This pick may surprise some Lions fans on night 1 of the 2025 NFL draft. In this scenario, the Lions pick Zabel over the top edge rusher on the board, Donovan Eziraku. What do you guys think about that? If we were to pick a Gray Zabel over a Donovan Eziraku, crash out or nah? You guys tell me in the chat. Everybody who's in here, get your opinions in, let them be heard. I definitely will read all of them. So it says, personally, I would be thrilled with either Eziraku or Zabel. My gut tells me the Lions would have a hard time passing up Zabel if he's still available at 28. Detroit brought Zabel in for a top 30 visit back in March, per Mike Payton of A to Z Sports. Mike Payton. All right. The Lions do not exclusively draft players they've brought in for a visit, but it does show some interest on their part. Zabel shot up draft boards after a strong performance at the Reese's Senior Bowl. Zabel is now viewed as a fringe first-round pick who boasts great positional flexibility. Detroit can draft him and figure out where to play him during training camp. With Donovan Ezuraku on the board, I, sir, am crashing out. I do understand that Donovan Ezuraku is not their prototypical sized defensive end. I think he's 6'2", 240, something of this nature. So he's a little bit shorter and a little bit lighter than what they actually like. However, I think you fix the I can't call it a mistake of letting James Houston go. Okay. Because I don't know if Kelvin Shepherd is going to. This is the thing, right? We all believe that we know what the Lions like as far as because of what their defensive scheme is. But remember, we do have a new defensive coordinator. He did cut his teeth under Aaron Glenn, but maybe he didn't like everything that Aaron Glenn did. And we have heard from Dan Campbell that there are going to be some tweaks and some changes. Not anything major, but is it major to say, okay, let's transition from a 6'4" guy who's 280 like a Josh Pascal, and let's go to a 6'2", 6'3" guy who is between, let's say 240 pounds and 270 pounds, right? Let's take a flyer on this guy and step away from that part of it. We don't know if that's going to happen or not. Now, Ezuraku does have some very interesting fluctuation in productivity. His 17 sacks this season are probably not the same as Mike Green's 17 sacks because Mike Green got it all out the mud. Donovan Ezuraku has a lot of cleanup sacks. Okay, so if you're getting cleanup sacks, you're getting credit for sacks that you didn't initiate, are you really that good? And is that why you slid down the board all the way to pick number 28? That's the question. But here, let me see what y'all are saying in the chat. Detroit Fan Man says, I need a big man at 28. Zabel works for me, especially if they think Ezuraku is simply too small at 245. I don't think James Houston's ankle fully recovered. His bend was never the same after he returned. Had to let him go. So if that's the case, Detroit Fan Man, because of the ankle, Donovan Ezuraku is a similar size. Similar sack production on the college level at a higher level of competition in college. Do has very freaky bend as well. Do you try to replace a James Houston because you have a healthy Donovan Ezuraku who's available there? Or do you think he's too small? That's the question that we have. Tactical Sports said, yeah, that would be a crash out. Now, the next pick I'm going to reveal is going to make it even more of a crash out. Okay? Are y'all ready for this? All right. This is crash out central. I don't even know. Can y'all hear my sounds? Let me play one. Because I know I can't hear them. And I don't know what happened there and why I can't hear them. They were working fine until yesterday. Let me see. The mic is still connected to the sound machine. Yeah, I can't hear it at all. Can y'all hear that? Let me know in the chat. Bro, I got 2 of them cans. I'm gonna have to drink both of them. Both of them. And if I get like some burst of energy like 4 hours later, then I know it somehow worked. Can y'all hear the sound? Did y'all hear the drive sound? I don't know if you can hear it. Let me know in the chat. Okay, y'all can hear it. Okay. All right, cool. What up, though, Chip Bradshaw? Detroit Fan Man says, this DE class is deep enough to take a guy like Josiah Stewart later. The OL class simply isn't as deep. I'd rather get the DE, of course, but only if it's Brad's choice, and I don't know if Ezraku is too light. All right, Detroit Fan Man, I need you to keep that same energy. Okay? Keep the same energy. Are y'all ready? All right. Here we go. With the 60th pick of the 2025 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Tate Ratledge, guard, Georgia. The Lions double up on guard, adding Ratledge in the second round. Ratledge feels like a perfect fit for the Lions. He is an impressive athlete who boasts plenty of intangibles that the Lions seem to favor during the Holmes era. Ratledge was a team captain at Georgia and received plenty of praise from head coach Kirby Smart after the Sugar Bowl. Ratledge is also a relentless guard who is an absolute mauler on running plays. He would compete with Zabel, Graham Glasgow, Christian Mahogany, and Coyote Awasika. I don't know why people can't pronounce his name. Awasika. Okay. I got caught up in the hype of Iwasika. Like when they first said his name and I hadn't seen it, I was like, Coyote Iwasika. Is that it? We got a Japanese guard on our team. He couldn't be further from Japan if you tried. But yes, Coyote Awasika for one of Detroit's 2 starting guard spots in training camp. Oh, this draft is not finished. I'm telling y'all, this draft ain't finished, y'all. Boy, is it not finished. Y'all gonna learn today. Now I like doubling up, and it's extremely Holmesian, but not at OG this year. See, I told you. It's not finished, Detroit Fan Man. It's not finished. What do the rest of y'all think? It's more coming. I'm telling you, boy, that whoever did this draft, we just gonna call him Pookie. Hashtag if you know, you know. Use the hashtag. We gonna call him Pookie. Pookie did this draft. Okay. And we know what Pookie is famous for. If you know, you know. If you don't know, Pookie was a very famous character. He's a crackhead, okay? That's what Pookie is. Pookie is a crackhead. He smokes crack from a pipe on the streets, okay? It's coming. There's more coming. There's more crack coming. Chip Bradshaw says, yeah, I'm not good with that. Detroit Fan Man says the draft is supposed to just be hosted by the Packers and not have them make all of our picks too. Oh, the Packers are making our picks. Somehow they kidnapped Brad Holmes and they kept him locked up in their own war room. And they're like, look at Brad over there. Look at Brad with that gag in his mouth, trying to pound the table. Pick another guard. Pick another guard for him. Go ahead. All right. I won't keep y'all in any more suspense. Chip Bradshaw said, "You ain't lying about Pookie." I'm not gonna keep y'all any more suspense. Let's continue the Pookian nature of this draft. And then after this pick, there's another situation which it just doesn't seem right. Okay, all right, here we go. All right, with the 102nd pick of the 2025 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Jonas Sanker, safety, Virginia. The idea of Detroit adding Sanker continues to gain steam. Personally, I would be thrilled with this pick in the third round. The Lions will host Jonas Sanker on a top 30 visit on Wednesday, according to NFL Network's Tom Pelissero. Sanker has all of the necessary skills and traits to become Detroit's new third safety. He would likely play a role similar to what Ifeatu Melifonwu has over the past few seasons. Sanker primarily played strong safety at Virginia, but he also spent some time as a free safety and in the slot. That versatility could be very attractive to the Lions. The Falcons, Commanders, Panthers, and Ravens will also have top 30 visits with Sanker. I am confident the Lions are interested in him, so we may see a trade up the board to snag him. If Sanker does fall to the 102nd pick, Brad Holmes might sprint the card in like he did with Penei Sewell and Aiden Hutchinson. This man's on drugs. So we took our biggest need in the draft and we have not addressed it in the first 3 rounds. Now you see the kind of mess that I'm talking about. When I say that if Brad Holmes doesn't pick a defensive end in the first round, I'm going to be upset because we got to wait 24 hours to see what he has done or what he's going to do next. In this scenario, it's nothing. He's going to take another guard to double up from what he did in the first round, and then he's going to take a safety because replacing Ifeatu Melifonwu is more important than getting to the passer. Ifeatu Melifonwu, we allowed to go to Miami for $4 million, not because he was a bad player. He's a very good player, but because he was a part-time player, because he was always injured. We allowed him to walk out of the door for $4 million. At this point, you draft this guy in the third round, I'd rather have kept Iffy for that $4 million. And with us, it would have been $4 million of incentives, just like Marcus Davenport's contract. This man is smoking. This man is smoking drugs. Alex Zimmerman said, dude, Derek would have a stroke. Bro, I don't know how many of us wouldn't. Shout out Derek, by the way. I don't know. I think we should be doing a show before the draft. I want to try to get him in before there's something that I'm working on. I'm working diligently on it. And you know, I want to have him on and I want to have some others on, test it out. However, I think we need to get to our NFC Championship game show before the draft so we can like finally put a bow on it. So Chip Bradshaw says, only way this works is if we bring in a D and free agency, even then kind of questionable. If Cash Doll is working her magic, you know, we see Big Z and Cash Doll at the Pistons game. If she doing what she need to do, okay, and I'm not gonna get into the details of anything. then we bring Big Z back. This draft is okay. Okay, only if we bring back someone of the caliber of Big Z. Okay, because I think what was the stat in the last 5 years as far as getting pressure on the quarterback? Big Z has been in the top 5. Only if we bring back the caliber of a Big Z do you make these moves. But since the person hasn't stated that you make these moves because Big Z is back, he's smoking crack. Now, the next move that he makes is questionable because I haven't seen this player go solo. Okay? Remember, we are now into the 4th round. All right, are you ready? With the 149th pick of the 2025 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Jared Ivey, edge out of Ole Miss. Okay, now it's not this. I'm sorry. Wait. Yes, it is the 4th round. Okay. But it's a trade. We traded up in the 4th round. Detroit moves, down the board? Hold on. Which pick did we trade then? This doesn't make sense. So we picked a safety at 102, which was our 3rd round pick. Correct? And then 149th is in the 4th round. But it said we moved down 4 slots. Well, how are 40? Well, what's it? We moved down 120. I can't talk. We moved down 20 slots. So how did we have the 129th pick? Did we have that? Is this 102? That's a comp pick, right? Okay, I got you. All right. Okay, it makes a little bit more sense now. All right, Detroit moves down the board, allowing Dallas to move up nearly 20 spots to select Nebraska cornerback Tommy Hill. Figure? Anybody? Any takers? Ask Tommy, he'll figure it out. You gonna be. Here are the complete trade terms. Lions received the 2025 5th round pick. It's a 5th round pick. My God, it's a 5th. It's worse than I thought. Okay. The 2025 5th round pick, 149th overall. The 2025 5th round pick, 174th overall. The Cowboys received the 2025 4th round pick, 130th overall. Okay, so nearly 20 spot, 130. Okay. The 2026 7th round pick from Cleveland. The Lions finally address edge rusher. They finally address edge rusher by trading out of the 4th round into the 5th round and selecting Ivey. He's more experienced as an edge rusher than Houston was coming out of Jackson State. However, many scouts are uncertain whether he can become a 3-down edge rusher in the NFL. Jared Ivey has been projected in the 2nd and the 3rd round. I've never seen that he would be available in the 5th. Right? There are doubts that it's not doubts. People believe you probably can get him 60th. With the 60th overall pick. The 5th round? Is this dude making up like draft logic of his own? The 5th round? Ivey has a strong build and has proven that he can get after the quarterback after 3 seasons in the SEC. If the Lions drafted Ivey, they would likely use him as a rotational pass rusher on obvious passing downs. Okay. And then we round this out with Sean Dolak, linebacker, Buffalo, 174th pick. Ricky White III, wide receiver, UNLV, 196th pick. Ty Hamilton, defensive tackle, Ohio State, 228th overall pick. Isis Waxter, That's not a real person's name. Isis Waxter. Not Raxter, Waxter. Cornerback, Villanova, 244th overall pick. You know how they say F's in the chat? I'm saying F's on this draft. Jared Ivey is our plan to address the edge position. And we waited. Not that we waited. See, like Tactical Spork is mad about Broderick Martin because we traded up to draft Broderick Martin. In this scenario, we have not taken an edge rusher. And we have an edge rusher sitting there staring us in the face. And we want to take him. But we trade down 20 spots out of the 4th round to take this edge rusher in the 5th round with no guarantees that he's going to be there. Just so you can pick up an extra, wait, hold on. Let me make sure, because, you know, I like to be accurate, like I said. What were the terms of the trade? Just so you could pick up an extra 5th round pick. You traded out of the 4th round and very well could cost yourself Jared Ivey if that's who you're looking at. So you could get an extra 5th round pick. Y'all rate that draft. Y'all go ahead. Have at it. Have a field day. Chip Bradshaw says, you can't argue with crackhead logic. Run the ball. Yo. What up, though? Bro, this is possibly the worst mock draft I have seen. I have to send this to Easy, and I'm telling him, please rip this apart on the heavyweights tomorrow. This is bad. This is bad. All right, hold on. I'm going to send it to Derek, too. Tell him to rip it apart. Bro. Tactical Spork says the worst one I've heard this offseason. I think I'm done, y'all. I think I'm done. I think on that note, I'm going to go ahead and end the show. I need to recover. I need to figure out what I just read. Y'all got any questions? If you got questions, get your mailbag questions in. Get your questions in. I'll take questions. If y'all have them, I'll take them. If not, we're gonna roll out. I call this the silly season for a reason. That's why I call it the silly season. And like I told you yesterday, if you find anybody, you know, they may be bald, they may wear hats, they may speak in a very monotone voice, and they may be using the term the silly season. They may be doing that because I caught them doing it before. I just didn't say nothing because I was there. And it was like, you're using my stuff in my presence. But I don't know if they use it outside of my presence because I don't engage with them anymore. I don't watch them. I'm not subscribed to any of their channels. But that's why I call this the silly season. No one that does mock drafts for any sports publication can sit here and seriously tell you that we do not need an edge rusher. No one can seriously tell you, no, we re-signed Marcus Davenport, so we're good. In a perfect world, yes. In a perfect world, we re-sign Marcus Davenport. Marcus Davenport plays all 17 games, and he has 20 sacks to go along with Aiden Hutchinson's 25. In a perfect world, that happens. The world must be perfect. There can't be any crime in this world. There can't be any poverty. Everyone in this world must walk around and be a billionaire. Because the unlikelihood of all of those things happening, no poverty, everyone on the planet's a billionaire, is the same likelihood that Marcus Davenport is going to make it through 17 games. I hope he does. I really do, y'all. I don't hate Marcus Davenport. I hate his health. So no one can sit there and tell you in this world that has to be perfect that Marcus Davenport is going to make it through all 17 games and he's going to have 20 sacks or whatever. So no one can tell you that that's going to happen. So the need at edge rusher is a very pronounced need. It's either number 1 or number 2, or you could say it's 1A or 1B. And whichever you decide, guard is 1A or 1B. Edge rusher is 1A or 1B. Why is this? Because we lost Kevin Zeitler. But however, we do have Christian Mahogany, who equipped himself quite well in his time that he played for the Detroit Lions as a rookie last season out of the 6th round. There's not a single person that isn't smoking drugs or drinking alcohol that can tell you that we do not need an edge rusher. So much so that you decide to trade out of the 4th round, in which you have not yet addressed the edge position, to get an extra 5th round pick, because an extra 5th round pick is more important than an actual edge rusher. And then you get one who is not going to be there in the 5th round. Jared Ivey is not going to be drafted in the 5th round. You can guarantee it. That was the craziest. Bruh, if y'all ain't got no questions, I'm leaving. I'm telling you right now. I am shattered. I can't do no more content today because I am baffled. I don't smoke crack. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I don't know what influence this person was under. And I can't wrap my head around their influence that they were under in order to publicly publish this mock draft. They went into this mock draft and said, we're not going to do nothing that makes any sense. Nothing at all. I'm willing to bet you that Donovan Ezraku wasn't the only person they passed on. I think they passed on some more people. I think Michael Williams fell. I think Jihad Campbell fell because that's what initially that's the mock draft I thought it was. I thought it was the Field Yates and Mel Kiper mock draft. And at number 28, the Detroit Lions had the ability to draft, what was it? Michael Williams, Jihad Campbell, Kenneth Grant, and maybe Donovan Ezraku. I think it was Donovan Ezraku. So all four of them were there. And in this particular scenario, they took Michael Williams. And that was the question that I asked you guys before. Would it be Michael Williams or Jihad Campbell if you had the option to take either one of them? I think it was a similar scenario in which they took Gray Zabel over all of them, but they just didn't want to tell you that because they knew that you would all crash out. I have to talk to some creators about exposing this mock draft. So I'm gonna head out, bro. Motor City Cats back at it. Came to give you stats, none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And of course, if you see this dude in the streets, I'm gonna tell you his name. Okay. Now he's the person that posted this. I can't be 100% sure that it is his mock draft. His name is Ben Strauss. Okay. Ben Strauss, and he works for Clutch Points. If you see Ben Strauss in the streets, if you follow Ben Strauss on Twitter or X or Instagram, whatever he's on, I want you to go reference this mock draft. Okay? And I want you to simply say this.
You smoke crack, don't you? You smoke crack, don't you? Look at me, boy. Don't you smoke crack?
That's all you got to say. You know what it is. We're out of here. Peace.